Hello everyone, today we are taking a small break from our hinged and informational videos, and we dive into a realm where only the coolest of the cool kids dwell. Very exclusive club we have here, actually just by choosing to click into this video instead of the ones that may actually change your life for the better, proves that you are special. And speaking of special, it all started with 4 men children sitting at a bar, talking about magic of course. Out of nowhere someone brought up Beyblades. And turns out we all had come across some videos about the most recent Beyblade generation. For me, it was this one by Distraction Makers, excellent video. It's cool and nostalgic, but we knew we weren't going to be committed enough to go full on Beyblading. Especially with the little time we get to meet, we'd rather magic. But another idea was proposed using Beyblades to determine the starting player in our EDH games. And at that moment, we knew we were going nowhere but up. Hello everyone, this is Jin with Next Level Commander, and after a month or so of exploring and researching, I finally feel ready to bring you my guide to using Beyblades to determine your EDH starting order. If you want more background information, the video by Distraction Makers is excellent, and also I found out the Red Bobcat also made a Beyblade video. And if you're wondering why everyone is talking about it now, here's the deal. In 2023, a new generation was released called Beyblade X. It brought new life to what was a relatively stale game. They introduced a new standard stadium, which has this extreme dash line designed to propel Beyblades into each other at high speeds. The new Beyblades also feature more modernistic designs, simple, elegant, and pretty cool in my opinion. It's something I never considered playing before this, but the more I get into it, the more it sounds like a decent idea. So why I choose Beyblades over something like Russian roulette or musical chairs? Well, first, it's easy. There is some skill involved, like how you launch and where you launch into the stadium, but for the most part, it's about finding the best part combos and also a lot of luck. Second, it's relatively inexpensive. Head to your local Walmart or GameStop, spend $10-15, and you have a ready-to-go Beyblade. Just a little more, you can get a package of 3 for full-on battles. Now keep in mind, the first Beyblade you purchase should come with a launcher, otherwise you can play. The stadium is a little more expensive, but if you split it between, say, 4 friends, it's really not much. Another reason to fit this into your commander sessions is that it's pretty fast. The rounds are quick. Even if you choose to be thorough with a 4-point match, it should take just about 10 minutes or less. Finally, it's nostalgic for many of us who grew up with these toys and card games that went in and out of popularity, and now it's more hype than it's ever been. Now, the biggest obstacle is probably the setting where to play. Beyblade isn't quiet by any means, so it's best suited for the kitchen table or your man cave. This may also pass if your local game store has a lively environment, and ideally can store a Beyblade stadium for you, but just make sure about this before you make your first purchase. Okay, let's get started. Before we do though, please keep in mind I'm fairly new to this as well. Will I provide enough information to set you on the right path to begin exploring on your own? Yes. Do I have enough insight to get you to the World Championships? No. So we'll be doing this in parts. Step 1 is something you probably don't care much about, but is very important to me. Coming up with some pretentious jargons to address our hobby, so overhearers think we're talking about something cool, rather than children's toys. I was thinking babes, because, Beyblades. Let's go pick up some babes. But Alex shut that down real fast. Yeah, okay, never mind. I go do some research. Apparently, they're just called bays, and people who play with Beyblades are bladers. That works. Now, with that out of the way, let's get a sneak peek at the rules. I wouldn't worry too much about things like deck building, tournament structures, but knowing about the point system is nice because it will allow you to choose the type of Beyblade accordingly. Generally, a game of Beyblade is played in multiple rounds until one player reaches 4 points, and different victories award a different amount of points. For example, the most typical victory is called a spin finish, where you simply outlast the opponent, and you will get 1 point this way. But if you manage to burst your opponent, yes, these Beyblades are designed to burst apart when hit at a certain angle with the right amount of force. You will get 2 points. Another way to get 2 points is when you knock your opponent's Beyblade into one of these 2 side pockets. And finally, if you manage to get them over the wall here, you get 3 points. And between each round, you can swap out one Beyblade for another. After trying out some matchups, I have to say I'm a big fan of this rule. The point system combined with the stadium gimmicks really rewards picking Beyblades that are built for offense or even chaos, preventing a slow slugfest, which used to be one of the biggest problems with older Beyblade generations. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about the types. They're trying to build this rock, paper, scissors metagame. Attack beats stamina, stamina beats defense, and defense beats attack. with the balance type sitting in the middle. However, from my personal experience, this doesn't quite play out the way they want. I found that it's more like Magic's case of who's the aggro. If you see your opponent's Beyblade and you know you're not going to outlast it, you will be on the offense, so you maybe launch at an angle for a more aggressive movement. Honestly, that's more than enough information for you to start playing. Let's pick up a Beyblade. So my hot take here would be to not look at the metagame. The meta for Beyblade is a bit like Commander, where the vast majority of decks lie between 4 to 7 on the old power skill. If we go meta too quickly, things might get stale and you lose the joy of exploration. In fact, I'm going to quickly go over some meta choices so you can actively avoid them. If you don't want to be spoiled about them, jump a minute to the next section where I introduce some of the coolest designs in the game. The first one I would avoid is the, brace yourselves, the Wizard's Rod. I know. You're 15 and you want it for the name. But hold off. Wizard Rod is the ultimate stamina type that aims to force every matchup into a long spinning contest, which will be won by Wizard Rod 9 times out of 10. Silver Wolf does something similar. The whole point of this bay is to brush off contact and be as defensive as possible. Actually, that's it really. These two are the stock combos that almost never lose to anything else stock. There are certain attack types that are also considered S tier. You can look out for them, but attack types add an element of randomness and rely more on finding the right pieces. So if you just play them stock and try to mess around with the pieces on your own, chances are you're going to have reasonably balanced games. Aside from the aforementioned, you and your friends can pick up pretty much anything, whether you like the design or the color or whatever, and have awesome games. And here are some of the most interesting designs from Beyblade X to add to your collection. First of all, one of my personal favorites, the Dran Buster. This is the ultimate Chaos Beyblade with an imbalanced design trying to knock people out with just one attack, focused on the tip. And once you take the few initial shots, the game is over, whether you knock your opponent out or not. The Dran Buster is never winning any stamina contest. This one is called Samurai Saber. It's got these little tips that extend out free spinning to provide a bit more balance, but they retract on contact for stronger impact. Scorpion Spear does something similar, featuring a relatively round shape at first, but the moment it rides the extreme line, which usually precedes impact, it turns into a more aggressive, smashing shape. Then there's the Knight Mail, which has 3 metal balls to help stabilize against a certain impact. And it also has a bouncy tip, not sure what that does, but it's great for fidgeting. Impact Drake has rubber pieces covering its points of contact, which adds recoil and can easily snuff out spin of the opposing Beyblade, combining with its heavy weight. This one here is called the Cobalt Drake. It's currently the only left spinning Beyblade, because everything else spins right. This allows it to steal spin from the most persistent stamina types. And it's not just these gimmicks, a lot of the shapes are interesting as well. For example, Golem Rock is just a really compact, low-to-the-ground fortress that fends off whatever attack you throw at it. Meanwhile, Phoenix Wing has one of the most aggressive attacking shapes. And on the opposite end of that, we have the Ghost Circle. It's just a small circle that dances around the stadium, hoping to avoid contact. And if you just can't get enough of Universes Beyond, Beyblade is doing that too. But yeah, lots of choices. Now you have your Beyblades, a stadium, and hopefully some friends who you sent this video to and are now in it together. I'd recommend a mini tournament structure with 2 semifinals into a final. It really doesn't take much time and is much better than the alternative of 4 people launching at the same time. That might not be the best idea. Speaking of not the best idea, do not over-tighten your launcher, just wind the Beyblade, and when it feels resistance, stop. Also, do not launch at people, pets, or your opponent's magic cards. I know it's tempting. Do not bring your face too close to the stadium when battling. These things can fly out. And there you have it. Thank you for watching. Let me know which Beyblade you choose. This is Jin with Next Level Commander, and I'll see you in the next video.